Welcome everyone. As you can see by the title of this video and what we're looking at right now, welcome to my official spoiler-free review of Thor: Love and Thunder. Now, let me get this started by saying, if you've seen any reviews about this movie, spoiler or non-spoiler, the one thing that they will say, right by they, I mean every person in the face of the world, is that this movie is fun. I don't think that's a bad way to describe it. I just think that's not the best way to describe it. And obviously without spoiling, I can't get too deep into it, but I don't think I'm gonna make a spoiler review, by the way, so this is kind of just my main review. But again, I will not spoil here. So this movie does not take itself seriously. And that's okay because Ragnarok did that too, but I it's not close on Ragnarok and this movie here. Now, let me get it out of the way. I think it is funnier. I think it is funnier. This movie has great comedy. The characters are great. Obviously, you can see here we have Thor. You know, he's Thor. If you love Thor, you're gonna love him here. You got Mighty Thor. Jane Foster was returned. It's kind of, let me think. Okay, I'm rephrasing it here. All right, she's great. She's great. I'm not gonna spoil it here, guys. I'm not gonna do that to you guys. Mighty Thor is great. Um, yeah. Okay, that's I'm gonna keep on going. I'm gonna keep on going. Valkyrie, again, without spoiling it, didn't have that much screen time, but also not too much development from Ragnarok, which I felt like they did a great job on Ragnarok with her character, because she became the warrior that she once was in Ragnarok. Not as much of a dynamic change in this movie. And we got Korg. He's the goat. He is also just comic relief. So there's not a lot of he's comic relief. That's yeah. Um, and then we gotta talk about this man. I can't talk about this movie without talking about this man right here, Gore the God Butcher. I'm putting these pictures up. By the way, I know I'm going off topic, but I'm putting these pictures up so you know just to spice up my review, obviously, because you're not seeing my face. Um, but yeah, Gore the God Butcher is fantastic. He is in ways creepy. Wouldn't say super creepy, but he's phenomenal. He's phenomenal. The only issue is, I had to bring up an issue with it. He wasn't there enough. He wasn't on the screen time. Again, I'm not trying to spoil it, but his screen time is very, very low for how good of a character he is in this film. And honestly, I felt like they kind of wasted Christian Bale because he's a phenomenal actor, and you can see it in the scenes that he's in. But there's one scene particularly where you're like, damn, he's really acting this dude out of his mind, but as a villain. But all around, he was kind of wasted, in my opinion. I would argue he still is one of the better MCU villains, but there's also that gut feeling that he could have been so much better. All right, moving on to what I liked. I like to think every movie has something that you enjoy, whether it is just plain out being bad, it makes it that funny, or it's the story. There's all various of things you can like in a movie. This movie, comedy, it felt like a rom com between it just felt like a rom com. And that's not a bad thing, it's not a great thing. It's just, it's definitely not unique though in that term. That when I say it's a rom com, you're like, oh, so it's like the first ever rom com in MCU. Yeah, but it's not that different from other MCU movies, especially compared to Ragnarok. Okay. Again, going back to the positives. The action was phenomenal. I think it definitely had a lot. It definitely had a lot. I wouldn't say it needs more. I wouldn't say it at all it needed more, but it was definitely phenomenal. Um, the CGI visual effects were also great in most aspects. Um, there are sometimes where it's like, okay, could have been better, but they were really good. It's a Marvel movie. What do you expect? Why do I feel like Christian Bale like staring into my soul right now, guys? Am I bad? Let me switch it to This looks cool. Yeah, it looks cool. That looks cool. That looks cooler. Um, Now I lost my trail of thoughts. Damn it. Okay, give me a second, guys. I'm gonna remember. I know you can just scroll back and be like, "Yo, dummy, is what you're talking about." But all right. Nevertheless, another thing I liked about the movie was the visual effects. That's what I was saying before. They were great. They were great. It's a Marvel movie. You know what to expect with these movies now. I think this in terms was one of the better visual effects movies for Marvel. I think this is a good scene here. Like you can kind of tell that's a green screen ish. I think actually that might be like those cool little panel thingies that they have nowadays. Like they're like you film behind. I don't know what they're called. To be honest with you, they use it in the Mandalorian. They use it in the Batman. And they look much better than green screen. But that kind of looks like a green screen because you can kind of. I'm not a visual effects man. I have no idea what visual effects are, but that kind of it looks a little bit off. It obviously is focusing on Hem's daddy, but yeah. But definitely great effects. If you're into that, you're gonna enjoy this movie. This is probably a good looking picture. I mean, like it looks tough. It looks tough, no doubt about it. Um, Again, like I was saying, another thing I like is villain. The Gore God Butcher was phenomenal. Could have been longer. And honestly, besides that, there's not much more to like about this movie. It was not bad by any means. It was not bad. It was just to me okay. It was just decent. It was okay. It it pains me because this movie could have been amazing. It could have, but to me it was just okay. And obviously we're gonna have different opinions. This is my review. You can have a different review. You may say it's amazing. You may say it's not. You may say, "Well, should I watch it?" That's up to you. So here comes in the bad. Number one, Gore the God Butcher. He's not bad by any means, but why did we not see this man on the screen more? He was so good. He was so good. Number two, which is what if you've seen any reviews for this movie. Actually, I want to go to a different one. If you've seen any reviews of this movie, you will know that it's a cool one. Okay, talking about there we go. If you've seen any reviews of this movie, you know that a lot of people are complaining that it didn't take itself serious enough. And goddamn, that is an understatement. I understand this is a comedy movie. This is a Marvel movie. What are you gonna expect besides the Marvel formula of putting jokes every 2 minutes? But there were times where the movie would have a somewhat not funny scene, emotional scene, anyone emotional, and all of a sudden comes in the dumb, unnecessary joke, which just totally throws the flow off. And it's not just one character; it is practically all of the characters in this movie that it's just infuriating because you can't do jokes every 2 seconds of the movie, and you say, "Whoa, you said it was a rom com, so technically it's a comedy movie." I definitely think it classifies itself as a comedy movie, but there are scenes where no, just don't put comedy there. It just doesn't make sense. Have some serious this is Thor. Ragnarok, Thor was figuring himself out. They made fun of him. They joked around about the God of Thunder because he was still determining what he is as a person. In this movie, it just felt unnecessary. It just did. There were so many pointless jokes in this movie that just when you're watching it, kind of sometimes it hit. Sometimes it did hit. I laughed a lot during this movie. I also don't think I'm too hard to get to laugh. But there was just sometimes where I'm like, okay, why? Why ruin that scene? Not okay, not ruin it, but why put down this scene by telling a stupid joke like that? It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. And obviously you might say, well, you're just an edgelord who only likes dark, depressing movies. No. It's just there's a time where you need to know what comedy is and where you don't. This movie, mm, not too great in that. Not too great in that. Number three. I gotta think about this. How am I gonna word this? Runtime. The runtime. It just felt too short for a movie of this level. It definitely felt like it needed to be longer in order to be amazing. It again, it's hard not to spoil it by talking about this. Oh my gosh, that's so terrifying. Actually, I saw something I wanted. That's fine. Okay. Um, it was what was it? If we just look it up, we'll figure it out. Dun, dun, dun. So it was. Where's the length? Run time. 1 hour and 59 minutes. One of the shortest MCU movies. And you could tell. You could tell there were things that they could have done. Again, no spoilers. And added on to this movie. But they're like, oh, so what the hell is. Sorry. And they just didn't. They just didn't because it was restricted by the runtime. And I felt like if this movie was 2 hours and, just 30 more minutes, maybe even 20, you could have had some scenes in there that, really deepened the plot of this movie. What is this? Why? Okay, we'll just. Oh my gosh, no, what? Bum, bum, bum. Ew. This movie, it just pains me because, again, like I sound like a broken record. It could have been amazing. It could have been. And I think there will be people who say this was amazing, and they say, actually, not just they say, I have seen on Twitter people saying, stop taking this movie seriously, guys. This is supposed to be a comedy movie, so just make sure that you lower your expectations, but also stop hating on the movie. It's not supposed to be serious. I understand that it's a comedy movie. It definitely is. And I know you're like, okay, we understand it's a comedy movie. But it's not serious enough. Thor 1 and 2 were both considered. I don't think anyone considers them as good movies. And if you do, I feel bad for you because you have bad taste. It's just simple as that. You have bad taste. If you like Thor 1 and 2, like you like it, I don't know about you. We may not be able to be friends because those were garbage. Um, I don't know what this is, to be honest with you guys, but we're switching pages around. And Thor 3, Ragnarok. My favorite Thor movie, by far. It took everything about 1 and 2 and it said, screw ya, we're gonna flip you around and make it into this, funny, but also, at times, very serious movie. Very, like, not powerful, but more personal, more emotional. Thor Love and Thunder, it didn't need to be this unserious. It didn't have to be not funny, but it could have benefited from more emotional scenes, more fun, less jokes. It could have benefited by just being Thor. When I mean Thor, I mean Infinity War Thor. Someone who is, when you look at the screen, you're just like, you're clapping, you're cheering for the guy because he's so cool. In this movie, you're like, every time they do that, they just put, either they put a joke in or it's just kind of like too late. And yeah, to me, it's just, it was all right. It was average. It was nothing spectacular. This whole movie, there are things that are spectacular, but when you combine in the negatives, you kind of just average out the median. The medium is just average. And average is not bad. Average is a C. My rating of the movie is like, I'm gonna get haters say, why would you say 0.5? Just round up. I don't care. I think it's like a 6.5 out of 10. I don't think it's great. It's not. And I hate to be critical because I was so critical in Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, and I still think rightfully so. God, I hate that movie so much sometimes. But this movie, I was rooting for. I wanted it to be good, but they just went down the Marvel formula again. Not even the Marvel formula. It's just what I like to call the Disney $1 billion strategy. This movie's gonna make more than $1 billion. I pretty much can guarantee you that. I don't think it'll have any difficulty doing that because it's just sticking to this formula that people will continue and continue and continue to watch. Some people will even say, wow, this was amazing. This movie was great. Because my expectations are that it is supposed to be a comedy and it's not supposed to be serious, that it's going to be great. And sure, you can say, well, that logic doesn't make sense because it is supposed to be not super serious. Yeah, it isn't, but it should have been. It could have been a better movie if more serious. It's not a great movie. It definitely, like everyone's saying, the only reason why people like this movie is because it's considered fun. Yes, maybe I shouldn't criticize every little tiny little detail in the movie. Stop being so judgmental. But then we come to this point where here we are, how many movies in this franchise? And still, they're doing the same thing. And people are eating it up. They're eating it up. They're watching movies. They're paying money. They're making billions of dollars. And Marvel's not going to stop because they're making money. There has to be a point where you say, okay, how have I watched the same movie pretty much so many different times in the MCU? They're all uniquely good and they're all deserve their praise. People worked on these movies. People worked hard on these movies. People behind the scenes worked hard on these movies. But if you allow mediocrity to shine, what do you think's going to happen? It's not okay. This movie's not mediocrity, but the formula is so mediocre at this point where it's just like, please. That's why I was really looking forward to not this movie, but Doctor Strange. I'm not trying to go back to that movie too much, but that was unique in its own way, but it just wasn't good. And you may say, okay, so you don't like the Marvel formula, and you don't like the two series formula, the different formulas of like movies like Eternals or Doctor Strange. So what do you want? Well, I want movies that Marvel used to make, something that took effort. Captain America Civil War, Iron Man 1, Captain America Winter Soldier, Avengers Infinity War. If you're going to do something big, go do it big and do it well. If you're gonna do something small for one character or a couple characters, do that. Do that. But don't make the same movie. Don't copy what you did in a previous movie. And that's what I have to say about this in Ragnarok. It feels like there wasn't a lot of effort in changing up what they did. I think there are aspects that are different, obviously. Natalie Portman came on, did a great job. Korg, he's funny as hell. He was Bruce Banner, he was Hulk, he was Loki, but yeah, it was again to top it all off. There's a lot of things I can point out, tiny little things like how did this happen, how did this happen, how did this happen. Obviously, it would be a spoiler review, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't change the fact that I don't think this movie's great. My final rating, 6.5 out of 10. It's average. It's all right. It's a movie that I probably would watch again. Definitely watch it with family, but I don't think it'd get better after a rewatch. I don't think so. Um, if you are watching this movie, just remember things. There are two post-credit scenes in this movie. Go save for the first one. You're gonna wanna. You're gonna wanna. Trust me, you're gonna wanna. You are going to want to, badly. And save for the second one too, just to get it out of the way. Um, but yeah, this movie was alright. That's not a bad thing. Not every movie has to be perfect, and I want you to know that. But when I judge a movie, it's not just because it's not perfect. It does not mean by any means it's bad. It's just average. It's just all right. Nothing special. It's okay. Relax. Calm down. Calm your noggin. Not every MCU thing has to be great. But yeah. So I will also be having a Boys review coming out tomorrow, season 3. And yeah. So thank you guys for watching. Always leave a like and subscribe. If you want just argue with me in the comments, go ahead and do that. Please. I want you to. I want to see what people think about this movie. And maybe my mind will change too about some things. But don't go too aggressive though. Don't go passionate about it. Don't think I hate Marvel or something like that, because I don't. But yeah. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you are thinking about seeing it, what you're interested in, whatever, it doesn't matter. Any other thing you want me to review, I might have watched it. May not. If you want more reviews, I will. I think some people wanted more reviews, but it's been a while since I did one. So, but yeah, tomorrow, watch out for that, and I'll see you guys later, Gators.